record on this computer. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the first iteration of the AI Reading Book Club. And we are reading the AI engineering book, at least a few chapters that are available, by Chip Huey. I understand not everybody has this book available, so in this one, I will start by giving a quick presentation over this, and then we can head over for a quick discussion and further comments on the doc. I'll open the doc soon. This recording will be available later, and I think I'll make it public as well on YouTube. I think it makes sense for this one to be public, if no one minds. Okay, so going with the quick intro, the AI engineering book is brand new. I tried to find something more like mature, but all of the AI books, they seem to be out for release in January 2025 or later 2024. All of them were some sort of early release. And I know this author from machine learning, and she has good books. She has given lectures in Stanford, and her content is pretty strong. So I thought it would be a nice one to get started. So the first chapter is definitions. There isn't much of like actionable stuff on the first chapter. Chapter is more about defining the words and the vocabulary that she's going to use throughout the book, I think. And the first one, the most important one, is what how is LLMs and foundational models and things like that, and language models. And her definition, or the difference that she uses, is a language model is a probabilistic modeling of language. So you have a word, what is more likely to appear after this word? There are two ways. One is predict the next token, and one is, okay, I have this phrase. I'm going to remove one word out of this phrase, and the model has to predict what was that word. So these are the two, and these are language model. A large language model is a language model that's very large. So, and what is large? Nobody really knows. What is large today? What was large yesterday is small today, and it evolves. There's no scientific definition, she mentions. Foundational models, the way she describes it, is the same as large language models, but multimodal, meaning they work with text, they work with video, they work with images, and they are interchangeable. You can add an image and ask a question and add instructions as text, and they work with all of them, and they give a response. They are pre-trained, they're pretty large, and yeah. And AI engineering, according to her, is the process of, or the art of building applications on top of these foundational models. How do we get value out of those? Accessing those is pretty straightforward nowadays. They're almost always behind an API, but calling the API and making a useful product to the customers are two very different stories. And what once sounded pretty simple has become quite a complex task with context embeddings and all the things that we have to learn today. I keep imagining that there are people in this world that will never heard what an LLM is, and they will be happy. And we, well, anyways. So she has some a nice. I've been adding some small prints from what I thought it was nice from the book, and I think this one is just like having to work with LLM right now. is just sitting on a bullet train because everything moves so fast around you. What I thought I knew, I've been a machine learning engineer. I've worked with machine learning engineering or machine learning for 10 years right now. And this last year and a half or 2 years, they are completely different. Like they changed completely how we approach ML. And I think I know something, and then suddenly I open my LinkedIn and there's this new three-letter for something that I have no idea what it's talking about, and it's everywhere. I can't follow that up. So it is complicated because it's hard to commit to an architecture, for example. Like, okay, we might create our own blueprints, but it's impossible for our blueprints to capture how this will evolve in the next 6 months, for example. We might do a best effort, but we need to be pretty adaptable into how we approach this. It is really hard to commit to an approach on our architecture if everything might change out of nowhere. A new model might drop in that is incredibly better, but breaks our assumptions. So yeah. So the and if anybody wants to block me, and this is not a one-way presentation, it's more like it's exposition for now. But if you want to discuss something already, feel free. So AI engineering in this scenario is making, like I mentioned, useful things out of LLMs. We have that capability. We have those foundational models. How do we get them from a POC that we've built over the weekend into something our customers can actually use? So how does affect privacy? How does latency in the product is affected by uh, using a large language model? How does robustness? So if I make the same query twice or very similar queries, do they yield the same result? How can I help them get to the same result? Correctness as well. So for example, how does it hallucinate? Are we giving the right instructions? So it's a mix of, I will show very soon, but I'll show this already. So it's a mix of, it goes from all the infrastructure side, deploying the models if needed. Well, for us, it will matter because we will facilitate deploying models within private clouds and for air-gapped customers. But also developing, having our focus, I think, will be more on the application development rather than these two. These custom model teams will have to take a bit of a look because we'll facilitate model deployment. But for the rest of the company, I think application development is the one that really is gonna pull most of our work. So prompt engineering, how can we improve the prompts for our use case? AI interface, I will go about it in a few seconds because I think it's a very interesting problem. RAG, sorry?
Yeah, I feel that AI gateway is kind of part of the infrastructure. Not, I'm just, yeah, that's why I'm curious about AI interface. Is it AI? Is it our gateway is a interface or more like infrastructure?
I will go over interface, but I think it's more of an infrastructure part. Is about accessing the models, mitigating latency, and enable the use cases. Some of AI Gateway, for example, prompt management is moving into AI Gateway. That means AI Gateway is becoming a part of an interface. But for example, a better example of an AI interface is Langsmith Hub, where you have the prompt and you can manage your prompts over there, at least in my perception. RAG, I just hate the term RAG. I don't know why people use the term RAG. It's search. It's search. Like there's no point in RAG. You're searching for content. Machine learning folks have a great skill of giving bad names to common things, and RAG is one of them. one shot, two shot, and shot is also another example of that use case. So this is an evaluation. Evaluation is a very, very important part, as we have been experiencing on GitLab. It's not an easy task by all means, and it's fundamental for evolution of our solutions. Model development. I don't think we'll be touching this at GitLab very soon. We have some machine learning models, but they're not like large language models. They're more small-sized models. And this is more the classical machine learning engineering work, creating the data set, optimize the inference, and modeling, training, the data science work as well. And then the infrastructure, the compute management, data serving, and that's infrastructure like serving. This is AI gateway, and I think this is why it fits more in the infrastructure than the AI interface. What I think. And then, yeah, so within this scope, I think one of the things that we are struggling right now is the fast iteration. I know that there's a lot of work going on around this, but how do we make it easy for teams to jump in and create a new prompt? How can we make it that they are confident on the changes they done on the prompt? So I'm releasing a new prompt. How can I know that it was actually a good change, both prior to the change being made? So I change and I want to have an anticipation, but also in production. So now that I pushed, does it really match the early expectations? And this will be a big challenge that we're trying to solve still. Privacy as well. So in the custom models team, we are working on everything that was built so far, but within air-gapped solution. So how can we make this private machine language models work, and so on and so forth.
I guess privacy also a concern for like not only custom models, because at least for chat we have this issue that because of the privacy we can't collect any questions, we can't get any statistics of like what user ask and what are the responses, and we can't actually we need to create our own like user interview to understand how user actually use it. Otherwise we're just like walking blind.
Yes, exactly. Are we leaking data? Can somehow, like for example, now some of the tools will be able to change stuff on GitLab. How do we avoid one user posing as another to the LLM to change this? This is especially useful, it's important for dual workflows. That is where engineering part comes from. Like we assume that the model exists. How can we make it behave the way we want it to behave, or the way we don't want it to not behave? So, and here, okay, yeah, this is the AI interface that I was talking about. AI interface is how you access the model, but for me, it's also how you interact with the prompts, how you build this. So AI interfaces, for me, the biggest advancement was not really the model itself over the past few years, but how easy it became for users to consume those models. And these are the interfaces we're talking about. Like, look at GitLab, how many interfaces we already have. We have the plugins, we have the web IDE, we have GitLab itself, we have the GitLab CLI. All of these interfaces are areas where the users can interact with AI. How do we manage all of those? And there's also how we interact with this, like the developers. How can we what is the interface to change the prompts? What is the interface to check the evaluation results? To check a new model? This kind of, of design for us, like this meta design, that will also be a key. I think we'll be investing on this quite a bit over time, because we are feeling the pain of, like, we've reached a point where it's not a POC anymore. We have passed that point quite a while ago. So we are maturing this quite a lot. And yeah, so this one, she mentions that a lot of one of the particular things about GitLab is that we didn't have a lot of machine learning before. Machine learning was never a big topic or a big discipline within GitLab. We had the data science team, and we had the reviewer suggestions. But beyond that, and the Tanuki bot, which only applied to GitLab itself, but outside of that, we never had a lot. So we never built that expertise. And that expertise is very useful right now. So one of the goals of this this book club, is actually develop some kind of like help others and myself as well. My goal is, I was actually going to study, and I thought it would be useful to study with other people to develop this kind of knowledge across the company. And of course, it's not only machine learning engineers that bring a useful baggage or for this, but also full stack engineers, because machine learning engineers one of their goals is to deploy models, and a model is already deployed. They can help a lot at evaluation right now. But full stack engineers can help a lot on putting things quick into production, so that those things can be evaluated in the first place. And it brings all kinds of people, and everybody can have good contributions. Yeah, that was the quick at least for me, the quick overview of what I got from chapter 1 of the book, and open for discussion. We have a few minutes still.
I have a question, but it may be a bit out of topic, so you let me know. But I'm very curious as to feature evaluation in terms of parity. So one of the before joining the team here, for example, in Verify, we would sometimes have ideas for features that could leverage AI, and we would discuss it. And one of the team that came a lot is sometimes even if something is doable with AI, the the benefit of where will AI shine and where is it more like it could be leveraged differently, as in like it could be done without AI with like more interface or more buttons or just different API endpoints. And I don't know right now how we evaluate these trade-offs. I'm sure there are features that are only doable with AI and it becomes like very apparent. Like workflow, for example, is not something I would want to build with if-else statement, right? Like I understand I can see the trade-off. But I don't know if we have something when we evaluate new AI feature where we ask ourselves, is this a good candidate for AI, or should this be built like without it? Like I don't know what's our current approach to this.
I don't think we do have a specific approach, because there's no silver bullet over there. It comes with experience, right? In machine learning, we used to say that you never start with machine learning. The one thing every machine learning engineer agrees is that you don't start. You implement first a naive solution, and machine learning is an optimization on top. That's not always true for AI, but one way that I like to think about AI is that it's a translator. It takes some content, some text or some content, and translates into another, whatever that may be. It might be, of course, translation, you always think of language, but it can be also the like languages, like coding and questions. It can translate, it can change one format into the other. And it will give you an answer. It will always give you an answer. You might have to imagine that answer, but it will give you an answer. the more context you provide to that, the better the solutions are. So the best use cases for me are the ones that where you have some content and need that written in a different format. Summarization is a perfect example for me, because you have like this large text and then you ask them to retrieve information from that large text. That is a very good example. There are others where that thought process is not very applicable, that you need to have some sort of AI in the process, and you cannot just do a naive solution first.
Yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
I don't know, like if I have kind of naive maybe thinking that for me the best candidate for AI feature is the one that's actually hard to like needed the human knowledge, but it's hard to automate. So then AI kind of like can be handy.
Yeah, when the definition is not clear of what the user wants, like the user wants to do something, but it's hard to codify intention. That becomes problematic, and that might be a use case. AI is good at like extracting that that information, that intention of the question. Okay. Is there any particular topic that you would be like to cover or study or bring in the future iterations?
For me, like if I like from what you describe, looks like very interesting book. I'm particularly curious about the evaluation part and how to make the iteration faster, because this is like robustness. Like from the chat perspective, this is our biggest issue, and it's kind of very tied into evaluation. And again, it's also tied into the fast iteration. So this is something that I would love to kind of learn. And if this book have some tips and suggestions, that'll be great to read it.
Yeah. Evaluation is the third chapter, which is good because it's coming out soon. Still, it's already available. The further chapters, I think, starting with reg, they are not available yet, but that one is. We can search for other content on that is not in the book, that we don't need to follow the book. And have other content, blog posts, perhaps a selection of blog posts that we can discuss over this.
And also, like I'm not sure if somebody else is interested, but I would also be interested to try to write the model from scratch, because I like right now on my journey to learn Python. So for me, there'll be something. I saw actually there is a book which kind of all about that.
There is a really good. I added the link to the Reading Club issue. There is a tutorial by Andrei Karpati that it's very well regarded. It's like a 2-hour video where he builds a GPT model. So we can go. That's a very interesting idea of a session to go through. We try to implement on our own, and then we get together and discuss the results. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So we are out of time. Any more ideas? Awesome. I will share this recording, and thank you for joining. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thanks for
Thank
organizing.
you.
Bye.
Yes, bye.